All right. Hi, everyone. Good evening, all of you. And welcome to our first webinar of Shiksha Study Abroad. Welcome, all of you. My name is Disha, and I'll be conducting the webinar for all of you today. All right. So before we start, I would like to share a few rules which I really need you to follow strictly. Okay. So let me just take you through the rules. So there are just few of them. Firstly, just be on mute, please, and keep your videos off. And then all of you will be given time at the end, definitely for asking your queries and questions. So you can just be patient and wait for your chance. And lastly, please do not ask any question in the middle of the webinar because definitely that would, hinder the flow of the webinar as it is time restricted. So these are a few of the rules which I really need you to follow strictly. And let's proceed with the topic of the day. So let me share my screen for that. All right, so I hope my screen is visible to all of you. You can use the chat button if it's not visible, by chance. So here is the topic of the day. Should you take the academic or general training IELTS exam? Fine. So let's proceed with that. I'm sure most of you must be having this question in your mind. So the topics which we'll be discussing today in the video are firstly IELTS academic overview, then secondly IELTS general training overview. So overview here means just the summary or the gist of these exams, these two categories. Then we'll find out the differences and similarities between the two. Then what do universities accept by country? So definitely this is one of the most essential questions here, which is, you know, uh, thought by every candidate some or the other time. So, and then we have academic or general training IELTS. So definitely again, this question is, very much there in many of the candidates' mind, which is better, which is easy. All of that we'll be discussing in this video today. And lastly, last but not the least, the right IELTS test for you. So which one should you actually, go for? Let's see. So we'll start with the first question itself. Which IELTS test should I take? Okay. So let's proceed with this line here in the green box. There are two IELTS tests available, IELTS Academic or IELTS General Training. The test you choose should be based on what it is which you want to do. Okay, so whatever you're planning to do in your future regarding your studies, or even if you want to migrate to some other country, definitely these are the two categories of IELTS, and you should choose between these two, that is academic or general training, whichever one is better for you. So we'll proceed further in detail. IELTS can help you with a variety of life choices like moving abroad, getting the job you've always wanted to do, and even just improving your English language skills. So yes, even candidates do take just to enhance or just to see where they stand. Where does their English language skills stand? So that is also one of the reason why IELTS is taken by many of the candidates. So before you book your test, be sure to check which one is right for you. All right. Moving on to the next slide, we'll see what does IELTS Academic have for us. So IELTS Academic measures whether your level of English language proficiency is suitable for an academic environment. It reflects aspects of academic language and evaluates whether you're ready to begin training or studying. Take this test if you want to. So let's see these three bullet points why you should take academic. Study at an undergraduate level or postgraduate level anywhere in the world. Apply for student route visa tier 4 at a university that is a student route tier 4 sponsor in the UK. So this is particularly for UK. We'll have this point in detail in the next slide. So don't worry about that. Thirdly, and lastly, work in an English speaking country for a professional organization. So if you have any of these three reasons in your mind, definitely you should go for IELTS Academic. Now proceeding further, as I said, with this yellow line in detail. So I have some information here for you about the student route visa tier 4. So let's see that 4 pointers. So the first pointer says the student route is points based visa system for all international students, including EU, EEA, and Swiss students. All right, just in case somebody just messaged, just checking. All right, coming back to the slide. Second pointer, since 5th October 2020, Tier 4 General leave has become student permission and Tier 4 child leave has become child student permission. Student includes Tier 4 General and student includes Tier 4 child. So these pointers can be explained very well by our counselors if you really need to go through in detail about these pointers. So yes, I'll tell you about all of that in the end of the webinar where you can take or seek help. Thirdly, student visas can only be issued for certain courses. If your course is eligible, your education provider, that is student sponsor, will give you a confirmation of acceptance for studies. So confirmation of acceptance for studies also stands for CAS, which you use to apply for a student visa. The course details will be on the CAS. Again, the counselor will be the best person to explain you all of this. It's just that I'm giving you the summary of it because before applying for a student visa and before applying for your IELTS exam as well, you should be aware of the kind of visa which you're applying for. So it's just a summary of this kind of visa. So student visas can also be granted for work as a student union sabbatical officer or as a postgraduate doctor or dentist in training. All right, so coming back to our IELTS general training. So that was all about IELTS academic. Now let's see what IELTS general training has to say. IELTS general training measures English language proficiency in a practical everyday context. So the daily routine, the mundane, work you can say. The tasks and the tests reflect both workplace and social situations. So why you should take this test? Let's see. First bullet point says study or train below degree level. Okay, work or undertake work related training in an English speaking country, emigrate to an English speaking country simply, or even if you want to get another job in your own country, then also people do take IELTS exam. Okay, as we read in the previous slides that it is, you know, kind of a test which enhances or even tests your own English language skills. All right, coming to another kind of IELTS. So this IELTS life skills is not really a category, but it's a subcategory, you can say, of the IELTS exam. And many of the candidates do not know actually about this test. So let's go through it in detail a little bit. IELTS Life Skills is an English language test which provides proof of English speaking and listening skills at Common European Framework of Reference for Languages, which is also known as CEFR. Levels A1, A2, or B1. So these are the language levels or the levels of the languages. So these three are counted here. It can be used to apply for a family of a settled person's visa extension, indefinite leave to remain, or citizenship in the UK. So these 4 pointers are the ones why you should take IELTS life skills test. Okay, so it basically just tests your speaking and listening skills, not all 4 of them. Okay, coming to the second box here, IELTS Life Skills was first offered in April 2015. It is designed to meet the requirements of UK visas and immigration, also known as UKVI. I'm sure most of you must have heard about this term. If not, now you know the full form. And can be used to apply for a family of a settled person visa, indefinite leave to remain, or citizenship again. So now we are well aware of IELTS life skills, what it is all about. So you may go for it if you think that is your choice. Now coming to the next topic of the day, which is comparing IELTS general and IELTS academic. Now both of them do have the similarities, do have the differences. Let's see what are they. Now the next commonly asked question by the students is, which exam is easier, IELTS general training or IELTS academic? So before we arrive at the answer to this question, let's understand the difference in the formats of these two exams. So among the 4 modules, that is IELTS speaking, IELTS listening, IELTS reading, and IELTS writing, The first and the second modules are the same for both the exams, and the difference lies between IELTS reading and IELTS writing. Okay, so now let's look at the general overview of all IELTS sections. So already we are aware of this. Most of you, I'm assuming that you might be aware of that there are four modules in IELTS exam: IELTS speaking, IELTS listening, reading, and writing. So let's see what all they carry inside them. So IELTS speaking is this part of the exam includes a face-to-face interview, and it lasts for around 11 to 14 minutes. As mentioned above, this module is same for both the exams, IELTS General Training and IELTS Academic. So I have just marked in bold for all of you so that it's easy for you to recognize as per the exam, which is similar and which has the difference. So now we know that speaking is same for academic and general training. Moving on to IELTS listening. IELTS listening exam takes approximately 30 minutes and is again the same for both the exams. In this exam, you listen to an audio conversation and accordingly answer the given questions. Okay. Then moving on to IELTS reading. This part of the exam is approximately 60 minutes, and here you are tested on your reading skills. You are given some texts and passages based on which you will have to answer the given questions. So this part of the test varies for both exams. That means this exam, IELTS reading, does have the difference between two categories, that is academic and general training. Coming on to the last module of IELTS, which is IELTS writing. Similar to the reading test, IELTS writing test is also 60 minutes. Here you are expected to write letters, essays, descriptions of charts, tables, etc. So this test also varies. That means this also has the difference. Now, after discussing this, let's see what are the differences. So we'll start with the reading section first. Let's see what are the differences between two categories. So first we'll start with IELTS General Training Reading. It consists of three subsections. Okay, so subsection 1 contains 2 or 3 or many short texts based on social skills such as advertisements, notices, etc. So this is the first section of your IELTS General Training Reading. Subsection 2 contains 2 texts based on workplace related such as the job description, employee training, employee staff development, staff contracts, etc. So all this will be included in your second section, that is subsection 2 of reading. Now subsection 3 contains one long text which is argumentative, descriptive in language. The texts are procured from various company handbooks, company guidelines, newspapers, notices, magazines, advertisements, etc. So, these texts are mainly taken from these pointers which are present here. For example, handbooks, company guidelines. So all of your texts will be taken from here. Okay. Now, moving on to IELTS academic reading. It consists of three subsections again. So subsection 1, 2, and 3 carry one long passage each, and the passages are factual, graphical, narrative, analytical in nature. Okay. So they may include a diagram that may represent a process, manufacturing, or a flowchart, or a table, or a graph. You have to understand and comprehend what it means. All right. So the passages are procured from different academic journals, newspapers, textbooks, magazines, etc. So again, you can see the sources are more or less the same. It's just that there is a difference in the kind of passage. That means academic ones are getting one passage each, whereas general training are getting several passages in the different sections. Let's read more about IELTS academic reading. So second paragraph is, in IELTS reading both general and academic, there are mainly 14 types of questions which are asked. All right. So yes, that include sentence completion, short answer questions, matching, classification, sentence completion with a box, short answer questions, labeling diagram, paragraph headings, multiple choice, finding information in the paragraph, summary completion with a box, and pick from a list. That means table, flowchart completion, and then true, false, not given, yes, no, not given. So you can see that there are many kinds of questions here, in total 14. So the difference lies in the type of texts, the articles which are given in both the exams. Okay. So mainly there will be a difference in the vocabulary or maybe in the pattern of the paragraph. As I said, that academic ones will be getting one long text in each of the subsections, whereas general training will be getting several text or maybe one. All right, going on to the next slide, which is just a summary of what we discussed. So you can just have a quick look or have a quick glance over here, whatever we discussed. Section 1, 2, 3, general training and academic. Three short texts, academic, one text, slightly shorter than the next two. So you can say that, for academic and for general training also, I would say that, first and second section is slightly easier, and definitely the level keeps on increasing as per the difficulty as we go on to section 3. So section 3 you can say is the trickiest and the most toughest one here. So we'll discuss all of this in the coming webinars when we'll be discussing, writing, reading, listening and speaking in detail. So let's proceed further for now. Let's talk about the differences in the IELTS writing section. So let's see what are the differences. Okay, let's start with this. Writing task 1, general training first. You will have to write a formal or an informal letter requesting information or explaining a situation. The minimum word limit will be 150 words and the time allotted will be 20 minutes. Let's see what academic has. You'll have to describe, analyze a graph, a chart, or a table in your own words. The minimum word limit is 150 words and you cannot exceed more than 250 words. The time allotted for this task is 20 minutes. So you can see the time has no issues. Like there is no difference in the time. It's same for both of them. Even the word limit is same. Okay, 150 and 150. But here again, for report writing, that is academic part, not more than 250. Coming to writing task 2, general training first. So you'll have to write an essay on a topic issue given to you while expressing your point of view or any related instructions given to you. So the time allotted for this task is 40 minutes. Now, you will have to write an essay or a topic again for academic, a topic or an issue given to you while expressing your point of view or any related instructions given to you. Time allotted for this task is 40 minutes again. So here you must have observed, everyone, that writing task 2 remains the same for general training and academic, and the difference lies in writing task 1, where for general training you have to write a letter, and for academic you have to write a report writing in the form of graph, chart, or a table. All right. Coming to the next slide over here, again the next topic for the day. So how many countries accept IELTS? Let's see. The IELTS exam is accepted in over 140 countries, including the United Kingdom, Australia, New Zealand, the United States, and Canada. So you can take IELTS for study, work, or immigration purposes. And if you get a strong score, you can apply it to your preferred IELTS accepted country. Okay, so like that is like a good news. So let's have a look at IELTS, where it is required. I mean, in which countries. So let's see the countries one by one. Firstly, initially we have a chart over here where it reflects all the major countries which the IELTS is accepted by. So how many countries accept IELTS? You can see here the major ones: Canada, USA, Ireland, UK, Australia, and New Zealand. So let's read about them in detail one by one, starting with Canada. So IELTS is approved by Citizenship and Immigration Canada in Canada, which also stands for CIC. So if you want to work, study, or reside in Canada, you must take the exam. Definitely, we know that, right? So you will be tested using the IELTS exam to confirm your English ability, and you will need a score of at least a 6 to pass. So 6 is the bare minimum for giving IELTS in Canada and for scoring. So with no band below 5 in any of the 4 modules, that means 5 should be the minimum for all the 4 modules which you're taking the exam for, and a total of score for 6.5. So overall, you'll be better to you'll be better prepared to travel to Canada if you score this much as the minimum bare score. Now, coming to the next country here, which is USA. So, IELTS is accepted as proof of English language proficiency by over 3,000 institutions in the United States. The prerequisites for bands vary by university and significant. So, definitely every university or every college would have a different, approach towards the band. So, you should check your, university or college where you're applying for before giving the exam. In the United, sorry, in the United States, the minimum band requirement ranges from 6 to 7. So this is the minimum range where you should fall between. So because this is so because 5.5 band score is considered poor by most universities. You'll need to improve your score because IELTS is required for US visas. Moving on to another country, which is New Zealand. So you must be a skilled migrant to obtain a New Zealand visa permit, in which case the primary candidate must have an IELTS overall band score of 6.5. Now, both the academic and general training versions have a band score requirement. Importantly, each module's band score should not be less than 5.5, okay, for each of the band. Now, the overall band score should be 6.5 for New Zealand, the minimum one. Coming to your next country, which is Ireland. So, the four modules of the IELTS exam, which are listening, reading, writing, and speaking, are tested to study in Ireland. A band requirement of at least 6.5 overall and 6.0 in each module is required. So again, you have the bands in front of you. How much should you need for Ireland country? Coming to the next country, which is Australia, the International English Language Testing System, which stands for IELTS, component of Australia's point-based immigration system. The Australian government has approved it as acceptable in addition to visa and immigration requirements. So in addition, you must meet the band requirements of at least 5.5 in each module. So Australia has a minimum, limit of bands at 5.5 for each module. Okay. If we talk about UK, United Kingdom, the UK Visa and Immigration Authorities recognize IELTS Academic, General Training, and Life Skills, UKVI. So that is why I included life skills as a very important part of our slide, UKVI, because many of the candidates do not know about this category. Okay, so now you're well aware if you were there from the beginning. It is evidence of the English proficiency testing system for persons seeking to work, study, or immigrate to the United Kingdom. You must earn at least 6.5 in each category for higher placement and 7 overall. So you can see 6.5 is the minimum, and for higher placement, 6.5 in each category for higher placement, and 7 should be for the overall bands. That is your average for all the 4 modules. Okay. All right. So let's proceed with another country, which is Germany here. So when it comes to submitting scores in IELTS for Germany, you should know that universities do not always necessitate scores of 7.0 for admission. Undergraduate course aspirants should aim for at least IELTS 6 for Germany with individual module scores of at least 5.5. At the same time, the average score should be 6 to 6.5 for postgraduate programs. So these are, undergraduate and postgraduate bifurcations for Germany as a country if you are opting for that. Okay. So you should, all right. Proceeding with another line, some German universities also take scores between 4.5 to 6.5. So definitely you should check for which university you're going for and what are the requirements of those countries. Sorry, of those universities. Okay. The IELTS requirement for a German student visa is a band score of 6.5 overall. All right, so that finishes us, with the countries. Let's proceed with the another subtopic of the day, which test is easy, IELTS Academic or IELTS General Training? Okay, as I said, most of you must be thinking about it, so let's read about it today. First pointer says the common norm is that IELTS academic test is slightly difficult as compared to the IELTS general test for obvious reasons because of the vocabulary or the content from where it has been taken, and definitely the difficulty mainly lies with the words and the phrases which have been used. All right. So in the IELTS General Training exam, you will be asked generic questions related to you and things around you. And in the case of academic test, you must be more specific. Also, the scoring format for both the tests, there is a difference between one band. If you have a score of 37 to 38 out of 40, you get 8.5 bands in IELTS General Training. If you have a score of 37 to 38 out of 40 for academic, then you will be getting a band of 8. So you can see here 8.5 for general training and 8 for academic. So you can see that there is a difference in the marking pattern of both the exams. Also, if you need a complete table of the scores and the bands, then definitely you should visit our pages so that you have a better idea of the scores and you can prepare well and you can see where you stand. All right. So I'll give you the information regarding that in the end of the webinar, as I said. Let's proceed with the fourth bullet point here. So this means with the same number of correct answers, you get a higher band in IELTS general training reading as compared to IELTS academic reading. Okay, fine. So that was the last slide of our webinar. Definitely, if you want to know more about the details, as I said, I'll tell you in the end of the webinar about the other countries, as well as the details about the IELTS exam or any query related to it. You may write to us on the comment section of our pages. All right. So now, as I said, that you will be getting some time to ask your questions. So I'll proceed with that section then. And please do not write anything on the chat. Do write your queries on the Q&A option, which is just beside right on the right hand side of participants option. Okay, so can you see the participants option as a third option on the screen? So just beside that, there is an option known as Q&A. You can write your question and answers there. All right. And I would like to show you one more thing for the day, which is this page. So this is the page of our Shiksha Study Abroad. So you can always go to this option here, apply. Okay, then you should go to apply services. And after selecting that, you can go to Shiksha Counseling Service. So this is absolutely free, guys. Okay, and you can always go to this page and see the reviews if you want to. You can also select your own counselor. We have many of the counselors here who are willing to help you for your exam. So definitely you should just go and check out this page. And also, if you need any help, as I said, you can go to our any of the page. We have the comment section there. So you can just write down your queries over there. Okay, we do regularly answer your questions. And okay, so all right. We have one question here from Shivash. Okay. What about the Canadian Express entry? Can I present the academic IELTS results for the Express entry? Yes, definitely you should go for, academic. And I think we have an option for general training as well. I'll try to answer that in the next webinar maybe. Or if you want more details about the Canadian Express entry, which is I think 7778. In listening, you need 8, right? And for the other 3 modules, you need 7. That is speaking, reading, and writing. So yes, do check about it, Shivash. As I said, you can write on your same query if you have, or any other query which you have on our comment section of our pages, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. Okay, I hope that answers your question. So you can write yes or no. All right, welcome. Any other question, anyone? You can just write on your queries here. Okay. Is IELTS online tests available for both academic and general training formats of the exam? Yes, definitely. We do have the IELTS online tests for both the categories, academic and general training. So earlier it was only PBT, and now we have also started, CBT, that is computer based test. And for your information here, I would like to introduce you to a quick thing, that is we are going to have the next webinar about PBT and CBT itself. So that's a good news for you. If you are willing to know more about, these two kinds of papers and which is more, useful for you, or which one should you go for, then definitely you should join our next webinar, which is next Friday. All right. So I hope that answers your question, whoever has asked that. All right. Okay. Thank you so much. It answered your question. Welcome. Any other question, guys? Okay. So, all right. So I think that is all from my side. If there are no more questions, then I would like to conclude and end the meeting here. So as I said, do check our pages and I'll see you in the next webinar. Thank you all of you for joining us today. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.